Okay, welcome to Storytime with Nanny. This is day 2. I had to move it indoors, so people seem to like to put out cats and kittens down here, as well as dogs, by the way. And here's 2 that I have tamed that are siblings, which means they're brothers or sisters, or whichever they're related. I don't know if they're male or female. I don't know if they're a boy or girl. They're so young I can't tell. But this one I've named Fluffy, by the way, if you can see Fluffy. If not, here's Fluffy. And they were wild, and I've tamed them, and now they're just sweet. And this one, I don't know if you can see it or not, that they're both very sweet and affectionate. But this other one I named Itsy Bitsy because it was the smallest out of the litter. Today, it looks like Fluffy's going to help me pick out books. We're going to read Kipper, and it was written by Mick Inkpen. And this is one of the ones my kids enjoyed when they were little. Kipper was in the mood for tidying his basket. "You are falling apart," he said to his rabbit. "You are chewed and you are soggy," he said to his ball and his bone. "And you are disgusting," he said to his smelly old blanket. Out they went. "That's better," said Kipper. But it was not better. Now his basket was uncomfortable. He twisted and he turned, he wiggled and he wriggled, but it was no good. He could not get comfortable. "Silly basket," said Kipper, and went outside. Outside there were 2 ducks. They looked very comfortable, standing on one leg. "That's what I should do," said Kipper. But he wasn't very good. He could only wobble. Looks like Fluffy's enjoying the book. Some wrens had made a nest inside a flower pot. It looked very cozy. "I should sleep in one of those," said Kipper. But Kipper would not fit inside a flower pot. He was much too big. The squirrels had made their nest out of sticks. "I will build myself a stick nest," said Kipper. But Kipper's nest was not very good. He could only find 3 sticks. The sheep looked very happy just sitting in the grass. No, that was no good either. The grass was much too tickly. The frog had found a sunny place in the middle of the pond. He was sitting on a lily pad. "I wonder if I could do that," said Kipper. But he couldn't. Perhaps a nice dark hole would be good, thought Kipper. The rabbits seemed to like them. But it was not a rabbit hole. Looks like a mole. Kipper rushed indoors and hid underneath his blanket, his lovely old smelly blanket. Kipper put the blanket back in his basket. He found his rabbit. "Sorry, Rabbit," he said. He found his bone and his ball. "I like my basket just the way it is," yawned Kipper. He climbed in and pulled the blanket over his head. "It is the best basket in the whole wide." And it's because Kipper's already gone to sleep. And how much this is picking up with all of Fluffy and Itzy's help today, I don't know. They're wanting to help. This is designed by God, so I must be special. And this was written by Bonnie Sose, S-O-S-E, and illustrations are by Bonnie and Holly Sose. God gave me eyes so that I could see all the beautiful things around you and me, like turtles and goldfish and little bugs galore. And when my very best friend comes knocking at my door, They are butterflies of every color, bunnies, frogs, and puppies too. Rainbows, kittens, and candy apples, just to name a few. He gave me my ears so that I could hear all the many sounds both far and near, like the robin in her nest who sings night and day, and when my mom says I love you in her very special way. There's that sweet lullaby she sings to me each night as she gently tucks me in bed and turns out the light. He gave me my nose so that I could smell all of Grandma's goodies and other things as well, like sugar-coated rainbow chunks and marshmallow delight, or caramel candy popcorn, which is yummy to my bite, and the smell of fresh baked pizza, cookies, brownies, and candies too. What about the smell of red roses he created for me and you? He gave me my skin so that I could feel all those great sensations that are warm and real, like when my mom hugs me and tickles my back, or when my little dog jumps up into my lap. There's that soak in the tub after a cold rainy day, and that squeeze from my dad after he's been away. He gave me my body so that I could be free to experience this world around you and me, like jumping rope and running and climbing big trees, or playing freeze tag, or maybe looking for bees. Also fishing and swimming, just to name a few, and chasing my friends, both old and new. He gave me my mind so that I could dream. He gave me my mind so that I could dream of lollipop castles and moats of ice cream. I can think and plan and invent with my mind. What a wonderful tool I was so lucky to find. I can imagine and dream. Oh, Itsy. I'm sorry. I don't know what I'm going to do. Can't be outside right now, so. Okay. He gave me my mind so that I could dream of lollipop castles and moats of ice cream. I can think and plan and invent with my mind. What a wonderful tool I was so lucky to find. I can imagine and dream. Oh, what a great thrill. I can go where I want by the act of my will. He gave me my heart so I could feel the many tender feelings that he made so real. Like the hurt in my heart when a tiny bird falls from its nest, and I pick him up gently and tenderly give him my best. Or that super good feeling when my aunt hugs me real tight, then looks me in the eye and smiles with delight. He gave me my spirit so that I could know that he's always beside me every place that I go. To love me, to protect me, to show me the way, to be there in hard times as well as each day. He designed me with special talents, gifts, and abilities you see, which let me know that he has something special in mind for me. That lets us know that God made us, and He did. He gave us our skin. He gave us our nose where we can smell. He gave us little kittens. He gave us all the things that we need, including each other. And right now, Kitty and Itsy, Fluffy, that is, and Itsy, are going to go take a little rest. If you'll give me just a minute. I think they've been busy producing the show long enough, and we're having creative differences here. Okay, that didn't last. I didn't have it closed right. Okay. Now, the Great Dog Wash. This was written by Shelley Bronner, B-R-A-E-U-N-E-R, and Robert Newbecker, and it's really cool because it's written not only in English but Spanish, I believe that is, so you could learn a little something extra when you read it. The Great Dog Wash. Big dogs and small dogs, come one and all dogs, we're having a dog wash today. Slippery, sloppery, do a good jobbery, wash all that dog smell away. Tall dogs or round dogs, store dogs or found dogs. Everyone needs a good scrub. Short hair and long hair, some with quite strong hair. You'll each get your turn in the tub. Oh gee, look at that. Now who brought a cat? Watch out, be careful, oh no. Just what we need, a doggy stampede. And up the street all of them go. Where could they be? In the yard with the tree? Now how will we ever? Oh wait. Bring sprinklers and hoses, we'll clean all their noses, and somebody please close the gate. We'll fix all their troubles with soap and with bubbles while dogs are all watching the tree. And somebody oughta turn on all that water for the great dog wash jamboree. Big dogs and small dogs, now clean and brush dogs, they each have their own sense of style. It was fun but hard work when those dogs went berserk, so it's good that we're done for a while. And that's a really cute book. And that to me, how perfect for today. Things don't always go as planned, but you get done what you need to get done. This one is me and my puppy. And I have to do some spelling here. It's Terry Diffenderfer wrote this, and that's Diffenderfer, and the pictures are by Paul Frame. Every time Mommy and I went into town, we passed the pet shop, and every time we stopped to look at the puppies in the window, "Can I have a puppy, please?" I always asked, and Mommy always said, "Sorry, we're just looking." But this time we went inside the pet shop. There were big puppies and little puppies. There were black puppies and white puppies. There were puppies with straight hair, puppies with curly hair, puppies with pointy ears, and puppies with floppy ears. Now I wanted a puppy more than ever. So I asked, "Please, can I have a puppy, Mommy?" And this time, Mommy said yes. Right then I knew just the puppy I wanted. It wasn't the biggest, it wasn't the littlest, it wasn't even the prettiest or the most handsome. It was the one that stood upright in front of me, poked her nose through the cage, and wagged her tail. It was the friendliest. At last I had my puppy, and when Mommy asked what I was going to name her, I said Friendly. Before Mommy and I left the store, we bought Friendly all the things she needed. We bought a red dish for food, a blue dish for water, puppy food and puppy biscuits, a collar and a leash, 2 toys, and a basket to sleep in. When I walked out of the pet shop with Friendly tucked under my arms, I knew I had to be the happiest boy alive. That night, Friendly curled up in her new bed, all cozy and snug. She fell fast asleep, and I knew she was happy too. I decided I would show Friendly all around the house the very next day, but she found me first. Off with the covers and up onto the bed she went. Friendly jumped all over me and licked my face. But I wasn't the only thing my puppy found. She found Daddy's socks, Daddy's hat, and one of Daddy's shoes. Daddy didn't like that very much. Then she found Mommy's pearls, Mommy's favorite sweater, and one of Mommy's plants. Mommy didn't like that very much. One time we left Friendly in the house by herself for just a little while. She found a roll of toilet paper, and when Friendly found the garbage can and knocked it over, I didn't like it very much at all. I had to clean up the mess. Mommy and Daddy said that every puppy must learn to behave, so I had a talk with Friendly. Then I started to teach her. It was hard work, but after a while Friendly listened. When I said no, or sit, or stay, then I'd say, "Good puppy," and give her a biscuit. The bigger Friendly got, the more she learned. Before long she knew words like fetch and roll over. My puppy could do tricks. Friendly's very favorite word was park. Whenever I said that, she'd race around and around in circles with her leash in her mouth. Then she'd stop and wait for me at the front door. My puppy is growing up now, but sometimes she still gets into mischief. She still loves Daddy's shoes, and she still loves Mommy's sweaters, but most of all, she loves me. That, I think, teaches all of us that, yes, having a pet can be fun, but there's work to do, and we have to clean up their messes, and we have to take care of them. So you got to be prepared. It's not all fun all the time. Now, I want to read 5 Minutes Peace, and this is by Jill Murphy. I think parents can relate to this sometimes. The children were having breakfast. This was not a pleasant sight. Mrs. Large took a tray from the cupboard. She set it with a teapot, a milk jug, her favorite cup and saucer, a plate of marmalade toast, and a leftover cake from yesterday. She stuffed the morning paper into her pocket and sneaked off toward the door. "Where are you going with that tray, Mom?" asked Laura. "To the bathroom," said Mrs. Large. "Why?" asked the other two children. "Because I want 5 minutes peace from all of you," said Mrs. Large. "That's why." "Can we come?" asked Lester as they trailed up the stairs behind her. "No," said Mrs. Large, "you can't." "What shall we do then?" asked Laura. "You can play," said Mrs. Large, "downstairs, by yourselves, and keep an eye on the baby." "I'm not a baby," muttered the little one. Mrs. Large ran a deep hot bath. She emptied half a bottle of bubble bath into the water, plunked on her shower cap, and got in. She poured herself a cup of tea and lay back with her eyes closed. It was heaven. "Can I play you my tune?" asked Lester. Mrs. Large opened one eye. "Must you?" she asked. "I've been practicing," said Lester. "You told me to. Can I, please, just for 1 minute?" "Go on then," sighed Mrs. Large. So Lester played. He played "Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star" 3.5 times. In came Laura. "Can I read you a page from my reading book?" she asked. "No, Laura," said Mrs. Large. "Go on, all of you, off downstairs." "You let Lester play his tune," said Laura. "I heard. You like him better than me. It's not fair." "Oh, don't be silly, Laura," said Mrs. Large. "Go on then, just 1 page." So Laura read. She read 4.5 pages of Little Red Riding Hood. In came the little one with a trunk full of toys. "For you," he beamed, flinging them all into the bathwater. "Thank you, dear," said Mrs. Large weakly. "Can I see the cartoons in the paper?" asked Laura. "Can I have the cake?" asked Lester. "Can I get in with you?" asked the little one. Mrs. Large groaned. In the end, they all got in. The little one was in such a hurry that he forgot to take off his pajamas. Mrs. Large got out. She dried herself off, put on her bathrobe, and headed for the door. "Where are you going now, Mom?" asked Laura. "To the kitchen," said Mrs. Large. "Why?" asked Lester. "Because I want 5 minutes peace from all of you," said Mrs. Large. "That's why." And off she went downstairs, where she had 3 minutes and 45 seconds of peace before they all came to join her. And that just lets us know that sometimes we need quiet time, and especially parents, sometimes they need quiet time. And we need to behave and obey all the rules and maybe give them a little quiet time sometimes. Sometimes even children need some quiet time. Now, I want to read Fuzzy Rabbit, and this is by Rosemary Billum, and the pictures are by Vanessa Julian Otti, O-T-T-I-E. And this one says it's for Betty. Sometimes books are dedicated, and this one was dedicated to Betty. Now, Fuzzy Rabbit had been with the family for as long as he could remember. His dungarees were faded, he had a hole in the elbow of his sweater, and his buttons were all odd ones of different sizes. One of the stitches of his mouth had come undone. and he couldn't even smile. His little girl Ellen kept telling him to cheer up. He tried, but he felt lonely and down in the dumps. He remembered the old days when Ellen used to take him to school in her knapsack. That was interesting. He liked learning things. He liked the other children. He used to sit next to Ellen and help her with her math and watch her paint. But recently, Ellen had started leaving him at home with the other toys. On her birthday, for the first time, Ellen forgot to take Fuzzy downstairs for her birthday party. He could hear the children in the front room dancing to music and playing games. He sighed. He felt a bit left out. He decided to go and have a little peek, so he climbed off the bed and tiptoed out to the landing. He lowered himself down the stairs and pushed his head between the banister rails. He could see Ellen opening her presents. There were pieces of wrapping paper and bits of ribbon and cards and envelopes all over the floor. Fuzzy had never seen so many presents. There were cries of delight as Ellen opened a box and took out a pink doll with curly hair and shiny black shoes. Fuzzy thought she looked like a perfect, ordinary sort of doll. Ellen was excitedly opening her next present. Inside was a feathery owl wearing a pair of spectacles. Ellen showed him off to her friends. Fuzzy couldn't see what all the fuss was about. Ellen's mother started to light the candles on the cake. "I'll just shut the door so that the draft won't blow them out," she said. Fuzzy. It was dark and cold on the landing, and Fuzzy couldn't watch the party anymore, so he went back to Ellen's room and climbed up on the bed. He kept thinking what a lot of fun the children were having. That night, Ellen was allowed to stay up late. When it was time for bed, she had to get out of her party dress and into her nightgown very quickly. She put the pink doll and the owl onto her bed next to Fuzzy. "Move over, Fuzzy," she said. Fuzzy wished the new toys didn't take up so much room. He nudged the owl to make him move over a bit. The owl pecked him. Fuzzy didn't think that was very polite. Fuzzy hoped Ellen would see that he was being squashed, but after saying goodnight, she went straight to sleep because she was so tired. "Excuse me," he whispered to the pink doll, "but I need a bit more space." She pretended not to hear him. Fuzzy gave her a push, but she pushed him back, and Fuzzy fell over the side and rolled underneath the bed. It was very cold on the floor all night, but what was worse, nobody noticed that he was missing in the morning. He lay there sadly all day, sneezing in the dust. Nobody heard him. Fuzzy wondered if Ellen would remember him when she came home from school. Would she think of looking under the bed? At 4 o'clock, Ellen's friend Mary came over to play. "What shall we do this afternoon?" asked Mary. "Let's play nurses," said Ellen. They got out Ellen's nursing kit and uniform from the dresser. The girls put all the toys into the hospital, but Ellen wasn't happy. Something wasn't right. Something was missing. "Where's Fuzzy?" she asked. The girls searched in the closet, behind the curtains, and under the bed covers. "He's lost," said Mary. "He must be hiding," said Ellen. She looked under the bed. "Fuzzy, what are you doing down there? You're all dusty." Ellen picked Fuzzy up and gave him a hug. Ellen was surprised at how thin he'd become. "I remember when Mommy first made you. You were so cuddly and cheerful and bright," she said. She looked at Fuzzy and noticed that the fuzzy wool on his face had worn away, and that he was losing some of his stuffing. "Look," she whispered to Mary. "I could take him home with me and make him better," said Mary. "I'd swap my kaleidoscope for him," she added. Fuzzy was suddenly very frightened. Mary was quite a nice little girl, but he didn't want to go live at her house. What would Ellen say? Ellen didn't need time to think. She answered right away. "I wouldn't swap Fuzzy for anything. He's always been my best friend. I can make him better." Fuzzy felt happy through and through. Mary took his temperature and made charts for all the other patients, while Ellen threaded a needle for the operation. She got the syringe out of her nursing kit and gave Fuzzy an injection. "It won't hurt now," she told him. Ellen pushed all his stuffing back in and sewed him up all over now, she said. She also put another stitch in his lip so that he could smile again. Ellen and Fuzzy smiled at each other. Ellen fussed over Fuzzy while Mary gave the owl some medicine and tied a bandage around the pink doll's arm. "What are their names?" asked Mary. "They haven't got names yet," said Ellen. Fuzzy looked across at the new toy sitting in the old cradle. He thought how horrible it must be not to have a name. "What are you going to call them?" asked Mary. "I'll call the owl Wisey because he's wise, and I'll call the doll Jane because she looks like a Jane," said Ellen. Ellen's mother called, "Tea's ready." So the girls ran downstairs. Fuzzy went over to Jane and Wisey. "Hello," he said. "My name is Fuzzy." Just then the door opened, and Ellen and Mary came back. They sat all the toys down in a circle and set out the doll's tea service. Mary poured the orange juice, and Ellen sliced the birthday cake. She gave Fuzzy the biggest piece because he had been so brave. "It's nice to have friends," thought Fuzzy, smiling. And that's what Fuzzy says, I guess, at the end is what I get out of this. It's nice to have friends, it's nice to make new friends, and it's nice to have our old friends that we've had for a while. And we're also supposed to take good care of the things that we have. And Ellen did end up taking good care of Fuzzy. She sewed a little stitch so he can smile, and put some stuffing back in him and got him back to his old self. Now, this is going to be the last book today, and it's been around a really long time, and I like it, and I think it has a good meaning behind the story as well. It's called The Saggy Baggy Elephant, and it says it is written by K.M.B. Jackson, and it's illustrated by Tengren, Tenggren. A happy little elephant was dancing through the jungle. He thought he was dancing beautifully. 1, 2, 3, kick. But whenever he went 1, 2, 3, his big feet pounded so that they shook the whole jungle. And whenever he went kick, he kicked over a tree or a bush. The little elephant danced along, leaving a wreckage behind him, until one day he met a parrot. "Why are you shaking the jungle all to pieces?" cried the parrot, who had never before seen an elephant. "What kind of animal are you anyway?" The little elephant said, "I don't know what kind of animal I am. I live all alone in the jungle. I dance and I kick and I call myself Suki." Sorry, Itsy, you're being good, but sorry. Okay. So he calls himself Suki. "It's a good sounding name, and it fits me, don't you think?" "Maybe," answered the parrot, "but if it does, it's the only thing that does fit you. Your ears are too big for you, and your nose is way too big for you, and your skin is much, much too big for you." Parrot's not being nice, is he? "It's baggy and saggy. You should call yourself Saggy Baggy." Suki sighed. His pants did look pretty wrinkled. "I'll be glad to improve myself," he said, "but I don't know how to go about it. What shall I do?" "I can't tell you. I never saw anything like you in all my life," replied the parrot. The little elephant tried to smooth out his skin. He rubbed it with his trunk. That did no good. He pulled up his pants legs, but they fell right back into dozens of wrinkles. It was very disappointing, and the parrot's saucy laugh didn't help a bit. Just then a tiger came walking along. He was a beautiful, sleek tiger. His skin fit him like a glove. Suki rushed up to him and said, "Tiger, please tell me why your skin fits so well." The parrot says, "Mine is all baggy and saggy, and I do not want to make it fit. And I do want to make it fit me like yours fits you." The tiger didn't care a fig about Suki's troubles, but he did feel flattered and important, and he did feel just a little mite hungry. "My skin always did fit," said the tiger. "Maybe it's because I take a lot of exercise. But added the tiger, if you don't care for exercise, I shall be delighted to nibble a few of those extra pounds of skin off of you. Oh, no, no, thank you, cried Suki. I love exercise. Just watch me. Suki ran until he was well beyond reach. Then he did somersaults and rolled on his back. He walked on his hind legs and walked on his front legs. When Suki wandered down to the river to get a big drink of water, he met the parrot. The parrot laughed harder than ever. I tried exercising, said the little elephant. Now I don't know what to do. Soak in the water the way the crocodile does, laughed the parrot. Maybe your skin will shrink. So Suki tramped straight into the water. But before he had soaked nearly long enough to shrink his skin, a great big crocodile came swimming up, snapping his fierce jaws and looking greedily at Suki's tender ears. The little elephant clambered up the bank and ran away, feeling very discouraged. I'd better hide in a dark place where my bags and sags and creases and wrinkles won't show, he said. By and by he found a deep, dark cave, and with a heavy sigh, he tramped inside and sat down. Suddenly he heard a fierce growling and grumbling and snarling. He peeped out of the cave and saw a lion padding down the path. I'm hungry, roared the lion. I haven't had a thing to eat today. Not a thing except a thin, bony antelope, and a puny monkey, and a buffalo, but such a tough one, and 2 turtles, but you can't count turtles. There's nothing much to eat between those saucers they wear for clothes. I'm hungry. I could eat an elephant. And he began to pad straight toward the dark cave where the little elephant was hidden. This is the end of me, sags, bags, wrinkles, and all, thought Suki, and he let out one last trumpeting bellow. Just as he did, the jungle was filled with a terrible crashing and an awful stomping. A whole herd of great, gray, wrinkled elephants came charging up, and the big, hungry lion jumped in the air and turned around and ran away as fast as he could go. Suki peeped out of the cave, and all the big elephants smiled at him. Suki thought they were the most beautiful creatures he had ever seen. I wish I looked just like you, he said. You do, grinned the big elephants. You're a perfectly dandy little elephant. And that made Suki so happy, he began to dance. 1, 2, 3, kick through the jungle with all those big, brave, friendly elephants behind him. The saucy parrot watched them dance, but this time he didn't laugh, not even to himself. That teaches us that some people, like the lion and the tiger, they weren't looking out for what's best for Suki. They just wanted to hurt him. So we have to be careful, and we're not supposed to talk to strangers. And the parrot, he wasn't out to hurt him physically like that, but he was hurting his feelings, wasn't he? He wasn't being nice, so we're not supposed to be like the parrot was in the story. But then Suki found friends, good friends, and they were going to help take care of Suki, and Suki was going to help take care of them. And that's how we're supposed to be. And I hope you enjoyed Storytime with Nanny today. Sorry about the distractions. But please tune in next time for Storytime with Nanny. Thank you.